if you want to go from the very beginning, from day one of judo class to Olympic champion or Olympic medalist, what does it take to become an Olympic medalist in judo from start to finish? Like, how many different trajectories do you see, or is there some unifying principles?
I think a lot of it your journey is going to depend a lot by where you're from. So a path that an American might take versus somebody who's from Japan or somebody who's from Europe, there's three very distinct paths, right? Because, in Japan, it's part of the culture. There's a system of excellence. There's elementary school judo, there's junior high school, there's collegiate, there's Olympic, and much like our wrestling is here in the United States, right? It's very similar. There's youth wrestling, there's high school, there's NCAA, and then there's Olympic wrestling. And when your country is a factory of producing athletes at the highest level, then all of those top athletes typically go back into the sport, and there's professions for them. They have an opportunity to coach at all those different levels, and just the level of their game and the expertise that all of them have, even down at the elementary level, make their skill so solid.
And as a coach in that situation, you can just sit back and watch who stands out, as opposed to, I think in America, I guess you would need to craft. You don't get to choose from 1,000 people, a few people that naturally stand out at the age of 9. You have to actually, whatever the natural resources you're given, right, craft them into a champion. So if we look at that, the American way, where you just have a person with a smile show up to your dojo, says, I want to be an Olympic medalist. What process do you take them through?
Well, the odds are really insurmountable. It's a very, very high hill to climb, and there's only a few. There's only a few people, and there's only a few coaches in this entire country that really understand that process, and that can help people reach that level, as it's been proven, right?
Yeah.
Number one, you certainly have to have a solid base, a fundamental base of an expectation of what the training is going to be. And it has to be a level of professionalism very, very early, where you're teaching all the basic judo moves, all the basic fundamental movements, posture, gripping. Maybe gripping doesn't come in so early in the game, but throwing methodology, movements, newaza position, standing fundamental throws. And I think most importantly is really the work ethic, just the way you're going to train, the intensity you're going to train with, the ability to, the mindset of going to tournaments constantly. You need, in order to compete with the rest of the world, our young kids need to be tested a lot when they're young. They have to be put through adversity, because they don't get put through adversity in training because you don't have that many good training partners. So you get put through adversity in competition, and then we see what your weaknesses are, and we continue to make improvements on those. But the journey is it's long, and until they're kind of at the teenage years, they're going to have to pretty much stay domestic, right? Because they got to go through life as a normal kid, but they've got to be training in the dojo at least, 5 days a week. Sometimes they might want to get, an extra technical workout in, or doing some base conditioning in addition to that. And then really at the teenage years, that's where we really, we've struggled in America of keeping teens in the sport of judo, as well as developing them properly. Because up until around the teenage years, I think the Americans are on par with the rest of the world in terms of technique and in terms of skill. And we've proven we can compete with the rest of the world up until that age. But that's where Japan, and that's where the Europeans and the countries that are strong in judo, that's where they put a lot of time, energy, and effort, is to the teens, where they have a great coaching staff. They have good training camps with 800, 1,000 people going to them every single weekend.
When you say teens, what do you mean? Do you mean literally like 13?
Yeah, age 13 to 17, 13 to 19.
And that's where that's when you really accelerate your development. So you're saying, like, in America, when you're young, like before, 9, 10, 11, 12, you stick in judo, you can progress quite a bit.
Right.
But then I guess the other competition there, if you're into two people doing stuff to each other in a combative way. The other competitor in America is wrestling. So judo almost primes you, like it teaches you how to be a great wrestler as well. And so then you have to have a hard decision because you can probably be a collegiate wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
You have like a clear plan of where you're going to go if you want to be a wrestler. With judo, that plan is more is less clear. So you have to be on your own a bit with your coach, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Okay, so when you're on your own with your coach, to me that's just a fascinating journey because then it's just like the purity of it. It's the coach and the athlete and the dream. It's all about the dedication, the 5, 6, 7 days a week, competing, once a month? Twice a month?
Twice a month.
Okay, but also you probably don't have that conversation. I don't know if you do. Maybe you do, saying like, we're going to do this for the next 8 years.
Right.
Do you ever sit down, or do you just take it the David Goggins way, which is like, let's just take it one step at a time?
Let's hope we're there in 8 years.
Yeah, let's hope we're there. Do you actually?
Well, no, right now you have to think about the Olympics is going to be in Los Angeles in 2028. So it's really interesting. Now would be the time, and now is the time to identify talent and get commitment out of students that in 7 years you can make a U.S. Olympic team, because we're going to have a full team. America is going to have 14 athletes compete in those games, one in every weight class. So now is the time. If you're going to go on a journey to the Olympics and stay with the sport of judo, now would be the time to do it.
And so what, you show up to the Pedro Judo Center, and how much drilling, how much technique strategy discussions, how much randori or like live sparring, how much conditioning and strength training, how much of all of that? How much of cross training to other gyms or something like that, or traveling abroad? Is there something to be said about some aspects of that system?
For sure. You need it all. What you just said, you needed all of it. And we do all of that. Right now, we have a young group of kids at the academy. You'll see tonight. Some of them are 14, 13, 15, 17.
Are they good?
Yeah, really good.
Okay.
So can't wait. And they're right around your weight, so it'll be perfect.
That's nice.
They're just young boys, but they've been training hard through COVID.
Yeah.
Travis and myself have been training them. We share responsibilities. They're doing randori like 5 nights a week. We have them doing randori Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Sundays is when they're doing randori. They're coming to the dojo Friday night and Sunday night to do training. Mm-hmm. We also have technical sessions for them. They're in school now, so it's a little bit challenging, but they come 5 o'clock in the afternoon and they do a technical session. Through COVID, they were coming every morning doing technical sessions.
What's the technical session?
It's an hour of repetitive throwing or repetitive drilling to reinforce movements that we deem important to our successful system. So newaza positions, groundwork positions, where we want them to be put in this position, and they're going to drill it 50 times, with resistance, in big groups, doing drills over and over again, picking apart the details of the technique and what they're doing wrong, showing them how to fix it. But now we've done it so much that now we can do a whole drill session with them where they know all the different techniques inside and out, and they can move from position to position really quickly.
Do they do it for a period of time, like 2 minutes, 5 minutes, or is it like one? Do they actually counting?
No, sometimes it's both. So sometimes we do it for reps, sometimes we do it for time. Yeah. And so sometimes it might be as many as they can do in 60 seconds, or as many as they can do in 2 minutes. And sometimes it might just be, I want you to do every position 5 times.
Mm-hmm. In terms of throws, we're not talking about on a crash pad, right? It's just...
No, we're talking about free moving around the mat. And
just dynamically and just throwing.
Correct.